Hi, my name's Matt and I'd like to welcome you to this Zinniac video which is part of our ITIL Strategist course, Direct, Plan and Improve. In this video we'll be looking at the Continual Improvement Model, and you can see it there on the slide, and it's new for those of you who have come from ITIL version 3. You can see we've now got an extra step, so there used to be 6 steps and now there are 7. The new step is take action, which for many of us was always a frustration in version 3 that it didn't include take action. Version 3 went straight from how do we get there to did we get there. I think because they just wanted them all to be questions, but we do now have a take action step, so that's positive. The model focuses on consumer value, as the whole of ITIL does. The whole of ITIL is focused on value, as you know, co-creation of value from the service value system through the service value chain, and everything we do is focused on value. It links improvement to the vision of the organisation, and obviously we have what is the vision, and we'll come on to that shortly, but that's the vision for the improvement, so everything's linked. And it promotes an iterative approach, and you can see that from the fact that it's circular, it's repetitive, so the how do we keep momentum going feeds back into what is the vision. So what we're trying to do is create that iterative incremental development. And an important point to know that's expressed much more in ITIL 4 than it was in ITIL version 3 is adapt to suit culture and objectives. So generally across ITIL 4 there's much more emphasis on adopt and adapt. So adopt ITIL, yes, but adapt it to your specific culture and objectives within your organisation. So we're going to go through each of the steps now in turn. You'll see when we cover the steps, there's a little bit of detail about what we do in the step, and then on the bottom of the slide it talks about at the conclusion of the step what the situation should be. So in these videos what I'm going to focus on is the step, and you've obviously got the slides and the PDF of the slides so you can read the conclusion part. So do read the conclusion part for the exam, but I'm not going to go into lots of detail on that in the videos. Okay, so mainly concentrate on the top part. So starting off with what is the vision. So the key part of this is what's the vision, the overall vision for the organisation. That's obviously the whole point of a vision is it's in the future, it's where we want to be at some point in the future. We can't get there without improving, without changing, and presumably the vision is of a better organisation. You know, we want to get better in the future, so we can't get there without improving. So this is the vision for this improvement that will take us some way along the journey to achieving our overall organisational vision. And it's really linking with that, and as we go through and as we go around the loop several times, so as we do iterative and incremental improvements over time, we'll reassess progress against the organisation's vision and strategy. So typically the organisation's vision doesn't change frequently. We might tweak it here and there, and obviously as we get closer to it we might change it so it's further into the future, but generally it's visions tend to be fairly static over a long period of time, but we need to assess against that. And you can see just on this slide in terms of at the conclusion, change agents should, you know, understand, have a high level vision and agree. So we'll see common words coming through there. As I said, I'm not going to go through that in detail, but you'll see common words about where we want to be at the end of each step. The next step, where are we now? So in order to know if we've improved once we've made the change, we need to know where we started from. So this step, don't underestimate how important it is to understand where we are and understand the current state to know if we've improved. And to give you a specific example about this that I'm kind of experiencing at the moment. So I've got to the end of the contract on with one of our mobile phones, actually three of our mobile phones really. And it's about a year since we upgraded the last of our, we've got several mobile phones. The last one was upgraded a year ago. And at that point, the process with my provider was all via the phone. So you're ready for an upgrade? Yeah, you have to call us up. The only way to upgrade is to call us up. There's no way of doing it online. You have to phone us up and go through it on the phone. And you'd kind of ring them up and say, well, I'm due an upgrade. And they'd say, well, what about this? No, that's rubbish. I'm leaving you. And then they'd put you through to somebody who'd say, please don't leave us. I'll give you a better deal. And you'd agree about a deal and you'd stay. So this year, I'm in the same situation again. And they've obviously tried to improve this. So there's much more you can do online. So you go to your account and you can say, oh yeah, you're due an upgrade. Click on here, and it takes you through, and you can upgrade online. And if you're happy with the deals they're offering, you can upgrade online. So that's fine. But I'm not happy with the deal. So that is an improvement. So from their point of view, you can see they've tried to improve. They said, well, you couldn't upgrade online. That's very costly because every single customer has to call us up to upgrade. And really, we want to make it much quicker and simpler, lower cost for us. That ought to enable them to offer better deals. So they've tried to improve. And to a certain extent, they have, in the sense that you can upgrade online now. But if you go online, the offers they offer as an upgrade are the same as if you're a new customer. So there's no benefit of being an existing customer. There's no benefit of staying with them. And actually, if you go to other providers, they're offering better deals. So you go online and go, well, okay. Some people presumably take them, but I'm going, no, I don't want that. So at that point, you then, okay, you can go into chat, but no, that's sort of, they're the only deals we've got. Okay. So then I ring them up and say, I want to cancel my contract. I want to end my contract. And in the past, they would say, oh, please don't do that. Go through to someone and oh, please don't leave us. We'll give you a better deal if you stay. But they didn't do that this time. They just went, oh, okay then. It's like, oh, right, okay then. So you've just lost me. You've just lost me. And it's, it's not just one. It's multiple contracts. So as I said, 3 are up almost simultaneously. So they're going to lose those 3. And then we've got some more further in the future. And when we get to those, they'll lose those as well. And they seem to have lost the trying to keep their existing customers. So although they've taken one step forward with having an online process, but maybe 2 steps back with not making any effort at all, 0 effort to retain existing customers. And I wonder whether that's because they didn't really understand where they were. So they didn't have a full picture of where they were. They just saw it as, oh, well, at the moment people have to ring up, so we'll move that process online. But they didn't actually realise that there were 2 steps. There was the kind of people who were happy with the standard offers, but then there were the people who weren't, who kind of pushed it and said, no, I'm going to leave you if you don't give me something better. And they had a safety net for those, and they seem to have lost the safety net. So that's why it's really important to understand where we are now. And then where do we want to be? So that obviously links into where, and the important thing about where we want to be is it's where do we want to be at the end of the next step. So it's not the vision. We've got the vision already, the vision for the improvement. So typically the way this would work is the vision might be possibly where we want to be in a year's time. And so that's quite several iterations, several little improvements. The where do we want to be here is where do we want to be at the end of this step. So if we're adopting an iterative incremental approach, our Scrum, it's where do we want to be at the end of this sprint, which is 1 month or less. So it's much more focused. So it's not the absolute perfect end state, it's just the next step, a step along the journey to the vision. And in doing that, it's really important that we prioritize. So if we're time boxing, we're saying we're going to deliver the best improvement we can within the next time box, so that 1 month or less, so maybe a month, then what are we trying to do in this month? And we need to prioritize. So we've got a product backlog, maybe a set of outcomes, however we've defined them, maybe user stories of what we're trying to deliver. We need to prioritize those. And it's important to remember that we may have a product backlog for the improvement initiative as a whole, for the vision, but we've got a backlog for this sprint, for this step, and they're different, and the priorities might be different. So there may be something on the overall initiative backlog that's a must-have, but in this step, it's only a should-have or a could-have. So in other words, this is a must-have by the end of the year, but it's only a should-have or a could-have in January, because actually, if as long as we've got it by September, it's fine. In simple terms. So they are different. Equally, there may be something in January where we say in the first iteration, in the first sprint, where we say this is the should have in January. So we're delivering an improvement in this area. It should contain this. But if when we get to the end of the sprint, if we get to the end of January, the end of the step, we haven't delivered it, it might become a won't have for now, i.e. we're not going to deliver it this year, which is why it should be delivered in January, because this is our only chance to deliver this particular improvement. So the prioritizing and scoping outcomes is really important, that we understand the relative priorities, both in the long term or medium term across the whole improvement initiative, which could be several months, like I said, it could be a year, as opposed to just this step. What's the priorities in just this step? So you can use Moscow on both. Some organisations like to use Moscow on one and just an ordered list on another, whatever works for you. I really like Moscow, so I tend to use Moscow on both. But it's just so we all have a clear shared understanding of what those priorities are. So we need to prioritise them, we need to scope them. And again, in terms of scope, breaking down maybe bits of scope. So quite often if you break things down, you might have something that looks like a must-have, but actually only 10 or 20% of it is a must-have. And if you break it down in smaller bits, you get some must-haves, some should-haves, and some could-have. So again, that's a skill that you develop over time, knowing what level of granularity to break things down to. And we've talked about that in other videos in terms of sagas and user stories and breaking them down into smaller bits. We may need to implement them in a specific order. So as I said, it might be in January or never, or it might just be, yes, this is a must-have and a should-have, but we need to do the should-have first before the must-have, or a lower priority thing before the higher priority thing. So although the user doesn't, quite often with infrastructure, things like that, maybe the user's focused on functionality, utility, rather than warranty. It might be that we need to implement some warranty type outcomes first before we can deliver the utility. Define outcomes in measurable terms. Obviously, that's key to understanding whether we have succeeded or not. And when prioritizing outcomes, consider their impacts on achieving the organization's vision. So will they have an impact on it? If not, why are we doing it? But also what's the impact? How great an impact? And also how great an impact if we don't implement them? And that helps really with the kind of, so it's kind of, will delivering this have a really big positive impact, or will not implementing it, not delivering it, have a really big negative impact? So it's about pain. Priority can quite often be about the pain we feel if we don't deliver this, or the benefit we feel if we do deliver it. So yeah, outcomes with bigger positive impact should have a higher priority. But also low cost, lower effort initiatives can be prioritized in order to rapidly increase in value for the organization, i.e. deliver quick wins. So it can be that we want to deliver some quick wins. And again, it can depend on the organizational context. So do you need to deliver some quick wins in order to gain stakeholder buy-in for your initiative? Yeah, so if stakeholders are a bit iffy about it and you feel you haven't got 100% support, you might want to deliver some quick wins. They might be low cost, low effort. They might not have the biggest impact, but people can see, oh yeah, that project, that initiative is delivering positive things for the organisation. We'll support them, we'll give them resources, we'll let them continue. Whereas if you go several iterations and people say, what are they even doing? We're not getting any benefit out of it, they might stop the initiative. So you do have to think about the organisational context as well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video where we've looked at the first 3 steps of the continual improvement model. Please join me in the next video when we're going to be looking at the business case. Until you see me again, have a great day.